Hi, hello. It's June, so we're back with another Common Briefing program, a part of the Common Geeking program where each month we take a look at, geek news. We try to see what sort of fun updates there are, what interesting, impactful, or otherwise entertaining headlines have come out of the geek sphere, such as gaming, franchises, tech, whatever, disc golf, if Pat's here, but he's not, so you're safe. I'm joined this month by...
Hi, I'm Jeff
I'm
Leavitt.
Heimel, or Chowder,
all
whichever
right.
you prefer.
Also Jeff Leavitt, but,
Yep.
usually I don't
fun Discord lag there.
Yeah, I usually don't see Chowder jump on it like that, and also see Jeff let everything flounder like that. Usually Jeff is quick to jump in and say, all right, Colin, let's move. So that it's me. I'm Colin. I'm hosting this and doing a bad job, but we're going to break down June, which had some big stuff in it. Typically a big month for video games. This year, technically, no exception. And I'm probably going to dive a lot into that. But before we dive in, what you guys been up to lately? How you feeling? How you doing? I haven't caught up with either of you proper in some time.
Oh, I'm back visiting New York from California for the umpteenth time this year. And
You want to hang out sometime today or tomorrow?
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Radical.
God, what is it that easy to see friends?
Yeah, well, Chowder and I live like 3 blocks from each other rather than in
I know.
Albany, like some sort of nerd ass.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, honestly, if you say, "Hey, Chowder, you want to hang out?" I'm like, if I'm not doing anything, I'll be down. But anyways,
it's surprisingly.
I totally forgot about the whole Batman does not do oral thing. But
oh my god, that is a story we have to talk about.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely talking about Batman not doing oral.
You can handle that one, Chowder. That's actually I totally forgot about it too. Kind of threw me off. I was thinking about what my day's gonna be like, and now I'm just like, does Batman lick vaginas? So just gotta clear this energy a little bit. What was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know. Whenever I think about, do I have plans today? For the past, 2 weeks, the answer has been, well, you're not done with the Mass Effect trilogy. So, you got to finish that. I don't know if either of you guys have played Mass Effect. Fucking, man. They're games that respect your choices throughout multiple games. And I played the first 2 years and years ago. And I beat the second game, and a lot of people died, and I, just barely got through it with a crew. And I was like, all right, that was pretty fun. And I talked to all my friends, and all my friends were like, I didn't know you could fuck it up that badly. I didn't know that many people could die. That's a surprising failure.
I didn't know you could be that incompetent.
Yeah, that was pretty much, people like, it couldn't be that bad. I'm like, the only one who lived was Jack. And they're like, how? I didn't know Garrus could die. So I refused to play Mass Effect 3 until I would go back and did it. Never did until the remaster came out last month. I bought it, and boy howdy, is this trilogy more just incredible when you actually put the time into it. And only one person died this time, so feel pretty good about that.
Good for you. Good for you.
Beyond that, it's hot, and I am looking forward to it not being hot, and that's just kind of my mindset right now.
Yeah, I was not really
being toasty.
I was not fucking mentally prepared to come from Long Beach and have it be hotter in Schenectady, to be honest.
Yeah, what is it? My wrist is currently saying to me that it's 93 degrees. Whenever I'm near an open window, though, it feels like someone is just open mouth breathing on me as hard as they can. It's oppressively hot. And I've been in 90-degree weather. I don't know what it is, but it's gross today. Yeah. So I'm hoping that a little talk down some June news is gonna maybe perk me up in a way that the sun cannot.
See, I recently got Owlboy for the Switch, which is so far so good. The artwork is beautiful in it, man.
That's okay. So I'm a big, and I'll talk more about this later, I'm a big Metroidvania junkie. So when I was looking for what are the best Metroidvanias, everyone kept saying Owlboy, and then it came out on Xbox finally. I was like, I'll get Owlboy, and it is it's gorgeous. They really know what style they're going for, and they nail it. I didn't dig it. I fell off that game pretty quickly. It'd be hard to put my finger on why, but what's working for you in that game? For people listening, Owlboy is a game where you play as an owl/boy
Checks
in
out.
a flying in
Well,
a flying kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I haven't gotten that far in it yet, maybe like an hour in. But so far, what I'm kind of liking is just flying. I like the freedom I got
Yeah.
to just fly around, you know?
That's fair. I think for me, that came across as a little tedious because at first I'm like, oh my God, I'm not limited to movement because movement is such a core way to structure a Metroidvania by limiting like how high you can jump, how fast you can run, where you can fit. And in this game, you're just like, nope, you're flying all over the place. But I think after a few minutes, I just got a little bored because maybe just because it was like, it's not very fast movement, but it was undeniably pretty. And I'd be curious I've always wanted to like Owlboy, so I'm curious to hear how your playthrough goes. Because I played maybe 6 hours.
I mean, look, there's plenty of time for me to have the same reaction you do, you know? It's not like I've gotten that far in the game yet.
It's just, I was so bummed because I love this subgenre so much, and this is like one of the most acclaimed iterations in the last few years, and it didn't connect with me, and it's sad. I wish it did.
Bummer.
What's going on with you, Jeff?
I got back from a family.
Hot, as always.
Yeah, I got back from a little family vacation.
Is Jeff gone?
Can you not hear me? Can't
now
hear
I
me?
can hear you.
Now I can
I was
hear you.
literally just like talking at you, and you're like, "Are you gone? Are you here?"
Oh, this is gonna be a good recording.
Ooh, boy.
Cool.
All right.
Not much. Never mind.
All right, then I'm just gonna jump right in. Okay,
yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so enough faffing about. We're in it. We're talking about June news, and I think I'm mostly just going to be talking about stuff from E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, formerly the thing that all the games companies did, now the thing that one of them does.
Honestly, everyone's just kind of debating why we even bother with E3 anymore, but you know.
Well, yeah, because
like this E3 was pretty boring overall.
It was relatively light.
I think that's probably fair considering what the last year has been.
But if you actually recount the games they showed, there were many. It's just
nothing that exciting.
Stuff we didn't really care about. Yeah,
I think I sort of disagree. There weren't as many things that like blew my hair back, but there were a lot of things that I was like, "Oh damn, that looks fun." So, like, a little less min-max, a little more jack-of-all-trades was my experience. But, I mean, Nintendo did have their Direct, so that sort of fits
Nintendo
in it. Nintendo
definitely was, like, killing it this time around.
Well, before we get to Nintendo, I'm going to talk to the universally considered winner, which is Microsoft. And the reason they won is Game Pass, because they showed 30 games, and 27 of them I don't have to pay any more for. So comparing that to Nintendo's, hey, this game that you got for $50 10 years ago, it's 60 now. I hope you like it. Compared to that particular approach, I'm just going to run down a few things that Microsoft announced that I think are worth paying attention to. We got some updates on Halo Infinite. We finally got a look at some of the revamped graphics after the mixed reception that I wasn't too harsh on, but a lot of people were in last year's showcase. And it looks pretty good, though we didn't see a lot. We got a story teaser. We got some multiplayer clips. Halo multiplayer looks fun. It looks like a crazy arena fun time. To be honest, I didn't see enough to make an opinion. It was weird that Halo, which is coming out this year on its 20th anniversary, only had like 7 minutes in their 90-minute showcase. What got a lot of time in their showcase was a little ditty called Forza Horizon 5. Have either of you played a Forza Horizon game? I'm going to guess no.
I've literally never heard of it, no.
I've played
Okay.
a few.
So,
is it a different racing game that I'm thinking of? I played some kind of racing game.
Well, racing games, I mean, typically, unless racing games are being received by people that enjoy cars and racing, there's not a lot of fanfare. But this franchise says, hey, what if racing games were fun? And it works. So Forza Horizon, I jumped on board around Forza Horizon 3 when they did their Hot Wheels expansion, which was surprisingly fun. The thing is, there's a mainline Forza franchise that is realistic car simulation. They take that engine and then they put it in an open world game. And it is just bananas fun. and Forza 5 looks incredible. It is the most excited the game for which I was the most excited after this E3 was Forza Horizon 5 because it just looks like a fun time. It doesn't do the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart thing where it's like, hey, we're going to demonstrate that this new console is like a new fucking beast. It just looks like a solid all-around game. I'd love to get my hands on a PS5 to try Ratchet and Clank, but, we'll get there. That is supposedly a well-reviewed game. Other than that, the hammer dropped with Bethesda because a few months ago, Xbox bought Bethesda, Microsoft bought Bethesda.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And everyone was like, yeah, but you're still going to put the games on PlayStation, right? And this month, they finally said, no, why would we do that? That's stupid. When they announced that Starfield, the first new IP by Bethesda in 25 years, the folks who have made The Elder Scrolls and Fallout, they're making a new game.
Don't forget Fallout 76. Can't forget that masterpiece.
Hey, man, that game's
That's part
fun.
of Fallout. Fallout 76 is part of Fallout.
It is. Well, Jeff, the history is that Fallout 76 did the thing that a lot of live
I
service
remember
games
all
do.
this stuff with 76.
Yeah.
I was just in my head questioning why you said they haven't released anything in 25 years, and I was like, yes, they have. And then I was like, oh, IP. Okay, I understand.
New IP.
I was like, what are you talking about?
And I don't think anybody was really surprised, but to finally get it in writing, hey, Starfield is not coming to PlayStation. It is PC and Xbox only. There was a lot of
I bet all those people
that
paid probably like a lot extra to get a scalped PS5 that probably were like big into Bethesda. That's probably a demographic of people that are really really pissed now.
Yeah, exactly. That said, because of their cloud streaming stuff, they probably won't have to shell out $500 for a Series X. They can just say, "I'll do a Game Pass free trial and see if I like the game." So
right.
Whatever. But yeah, that was a big shift that we all kind of saw coming. That was finally confirmed.
Wait, sorry, you don't actually need a fucking Xbox to use Game Pass?
That's correct. Their cloud thing is in beta, so they're trying to make it so you can just kind of play Xbox wherever.
I guess I knew
playing
that at some
on an
point.
Xbox is. I've said something to that effect.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Having a console,
it just sounds
gives
wild
you
to me
the
when
most
saying it out loud.
immediate responsive experience. But it is nice that I could say hey Jeff, here's a game you might like. I have a free trial. Play it on your phone if you want. That's kind of cool. It's no longer, hey, do you have a spare $300? No.
Right.
Okay. Too bad.
Yeah. That's fair.
But it does raise the question about Elder Scrolls 6, which is, are they going to make Elder Scrolls Xbox exclusive?
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Well, it was before. That's what's strange, is they said it was Starfield, which hasn't come out anywhere, but Morrowind was an Xbox and PC game back in 2002.
Huh.
And
they're
doing it again.
I might be completely talking out my ass right now, but
yeah.
Am I correct in saying that wasn't it a thing previously that depending on decisions you made in a previous Elder Scrolls game, it would affect the next one? Wasn't there some sort of cross compatibility like that, or am I just totally making that up?
That is true of Mass Effect, which
Mass
I've been playing a redonk amount of. But Elder Scrolls, the games are usually set either across the continent or hundreds of years apart. So
it's not relevant what the choices you made were. Okay.
I
don't know.
Yeah, really.
I don't know why I was confusing those two, but
yeah,
that would be wild.
So I think a lot of people are speculating, are they going to make this exclusive? I think the answer is going to be yes, given what they did with Starfield and the fact that they did this 20 years ago. So we're probably not going to see that game for another 10 years. Who knows? But that is a big thing. Otherwise, we got announcements from Microsoft for Outer Worlds 2 with a very fun trailer saying, we don't have anything to show you, but we want to announce the game.
I've been playing Outer Worlds on the Switch. Pretty fun game.
Really good.
Yeah, no, not a great port, but I'm past that. Pretty fun game, man. I like it.
No, it's really good. It's made by Obsidian, the folks who did Fallout New Vegas, and this is basically them saying, well, what if we did our own Fallout? And it is, if you pulled Fallout a little bit in the direction of Borderlands, that's sort of the tone and style, and it is really funny, really fun, and really rewarding. I think, RPG stuff. Otherwise, Microsoft had some big stuff about like Flight Simulator coming to console, a lot of other small indies that looked really fun. Psychonauts 2, Hades is coming to Xbox, so I'll finally get to play it, and I'm so stoked on that.
The big thing,
the big thing about Xbox right now is that Game Pass is doing the heavy lifting. They announced 27 games. 27 like fucking big games.
Bananas.
Coming out on Game Pass, so I don't have to pay $60-$70 for them. So take that as what you will. If you have an Xbox or you just want to play via the cloud, like, it's going to be the most affordable way to play new games. But Nintendo did not sleep on this one.
No, they did not.
I don't know about you guys. Even though, like, Zelda is not my main squeeze, and I did like Breath of the Wild a lot, that Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, did that, like, really fucking slap? Or what?
Oh my god, yes.
I was like, really into the Breath of the Wild 2
I was going through
teaser.
that thing, like, looking at every little detail, like,
yeah.
what could this mean? What could this mean? Why is
I saw a lot of people
got,
complaining
like,
that it's like...
arm?
I saw people complaining, like, we didn't get a story, we didn't get a name, we didn't get... I'm like, no, but you got a setting, and you got some new powers, and it's like, you know this game is years away.
Yeah.
Nintendo does not make things quickly.
Away. Yeah. But yeah,
a year? Oh, I'm curious to see if they can stick to that timeline. But like, this seems very much in the vein of like how Ocarina of Time had Majora's Mask as its follow-up. You know, Spirit Tracks Phantom Hourglass, like that kind of like limited sequel where they're like, oh, this game did well, we'll make another one like it. Yeah. And Breath of the Wild was really
and like,
good.
If you know about like and if you know about Majora's Mask is like a crazy ambitious game that. While not appreciated when it first came out, everyone's come to, like, understand, holy shit, this game is, like, amazing. So, I don't know, maybe lightning will strike twice with Breath of the Wild, too.
And then the fact that it's, like, all in a floating area, like, I got Bioshock Infinite vibes from that. Like, I've played games in that setting before, but you don't get a lot of sandbox games in that setting. Breath of the Wild, what was very fun about it was it really did feel like a sandbox game in a way Zelda never had before.
Yeah, no, you had a lot of freedom, and, like, the ability to just explore the skies is going to be really good.
Yeah.
With that freedom. And, like, also, interestingly, that Skyworld resembles, like, Skyloft from
Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword,
That's kind of what I was thinking. I never played Skyward Sword, but I know that the remake is coming soon, and I was like, that's a fun coincidence.
Yeah.
Asterisk.
But also, like, there's, like, all these little references to Twilight Princess. I'm like, you think we could see Midna again? Because, like, Midna's a great character, but she has not appeared in anything since Twilight Princess.
We will see. I'm honestly, like, Zelda rarely gets me excited. I want to see more of that. However, that pales in comparison to the absolute loss of all physical control I experienced when someone said new Metroid, and I was like, oh, finally, we get an update on Metroid Prime 4, you know, the first-person shooter trilogy. Get another one of those. And instead, we are getting a 2.5D sequel to Metroid Fusion in the first side-scrolling Metroid original game in 20 years in Metroid Dread. And I can't fucking contain my excitement about this game.
So
and it's coming in October. Like, this isn't like how they announced Metroid Prime 4 3 years ago and then said nothing.
So this is a side-scroller. Is it, like, the old art style, too, or is it updated graphics?
Nope, it's 2.5D, so it is 3D rendered, but you're locked into the side-scrolling perspective.
Nice.
Metroid Fusion was... I've beaten that game, I think, 17 times. That game came out on the Game Boy Advance in 2002, right alongside Metroid Prime. Both games amazing. But Fusion is technically the furthest forward in the timeline we've ever gone.
Yeah, like Metroid Dread with that trailer, they first were calling it Metroid 5, indicating this is a continuation of that story. And, like, another interesting thing about Metroid Dread, we've known that name for a while. Like, I want to say 15 years ago or something, there was, like, a leak, and, like, Metroid Dread was one of those names, and everyone was like, oh, what's up with that? But then we never heard from it, and we're like, oh, probably canceled, and now it's here. And
it's here.
And it's like, what? Oh, okay. I guess that's still a thing.
Polygon did a small interview.
I mean, they must have renewed the
Yeah, the creative director had the idea shortly after Metroid Fusion. In Metroid Fusion, there's these parasites that mimic other creatures, and one of them mimics you. And the superpowered you is like chasing you in these little vignettes throughout the game. And let me tell you, it's pretty spooky when that happens. And so I guess shortly after Metroid Fusion came out, the creative director said, what if that was the whole game? And he had the idea back in like 2005, and just it didn't get made till now. There was a
That's what Dark
reimagining.
Samus is, right?
No, this is
okay.
called the SAX. Dark Samus is a Metroid. It is Metroid Prime, took the form of Samus. That is strictly in the Metroid Prime games. It is a shared timeline, but this is not a Metroid lore.
I just knew that Dark Samus was a parasite that looked like Samus. So I was like, that must be what you're talking about.
Nope.
Yep.
We're talking about a completely different
totally different parasite that looks like yeah.
Oh my God.
Coincidence?
Yeah, it's a bit of a hat
I
on a
think
hat.
not.
So we're getting another one of these, and it's there was a reimagining of Metroid 2, which was on the original Game Boy. I've played Metroid 2. Really hard to fit an action adventure game on the original Game Boy. I know it's happened a couple of times, but I do not think it worked for this. The reimagining a few years ago on the 3DS was great. And I think that because it's this studio, I think I'll have to look it up. It's Mystery Stream or something. This studio that made that remake is co-developing this new Metroid game. So I have a feeling this idea was just sitting in gestation, didn't get any traction. Especially, we haven't had a new Metroid game in 10 years, really, since Other M failed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that this was kind of like, hey, this remake went well. Let's give you the resources. And it's finally happening. And I think of all the things that came out, while Xbox is still where I'm going to be living, I am going to get a fucking shop vac to dust off my Nintendo Switch to play the absolute shit out of Metroid Dread. Otherwise,
Cool.
Star Trek stuff. Got a teaser for Picard, trailer for Picard Season 2. Looks interesting. Looks fun. Want to see more. Got casting for Star Trek Prodigy, which is the kids show. Jason Mantzoukas is going to be in it, which is just not who I would have pegged for either Star Trek or a kid's show, but now he's in both. And oh yeah, this was right at the end of last month. What is it? There was a leaked, canceled Samsung mascot that everyone on the internet
It was canceled.
wanted to bag. Yeah, it was canceled, and that Samsung never went forward with it. Like, it was an idea that never got published, and then it got leaked. And next thing I know, it is all over everything on the internet.
Everyone's just being horny.
So horny. So unfortunately horny.
Ridiculous.
I'm sure I'll have some other small things that I want to bring up, but I've been talking for long enough. Really, it's a weird E3, but there is a lot of good gaming stuff out there to look at, and there's a lot of stuff that I am looking forward to play. I think it's exciting, and I'll try to link in our show notes a more comprehensive list of what these games are. So that if you are interested in what happened, you can take a closer look. But Halo, Forza, Battlefield 2042 looks insanely fun. And what else was I gonna say?
Man,
something
they're
about
on
the politics.
their 2042nd game. That is insane.
And I've played them all. It's been really destructive to my health. Anyway, who's next?
Me. I guess I'll go next. Colin kind of stole my thunder with Metroid Dread and Breath of the Wild 2. But there's plenty of games to talk about still. Because, like, earlier this month, we had the announcement of Metal Slug Tactics, which is normally Metal Slug is like a side-scrolling run-and-gun game where you just shoot everything in sight. Here, it's more of a strategy game, and, like, the art looks good. It's as always, SNK's like really good at pixel art. And just another game in a series that doesn't get a lot of love. Always great. But more importantly, we then have the Elden Ring trailer, which like.
Austin pops out of nowhere.
Austin pops out of nowhere.
Austin has disappeared from so many groups I'm in over the last few weeks, and I'm surprised Elden Ring hasn't drawn him out because, wow, did we get a trailer?
Yeah, no, like, after all these years, we finally get to see a little bit of Elden Ring, and it looks great, you know? We got, like, horse riding, and you can double jump on the horse, and like, severed hands and shit, and a good look at, like, what the setting was like. it's good shit, man.
That's what I love in my games is some severed hands. Fuck yeah.
Severed hands and double jumping horses.
Horses can double jump.
But yeah, no, this game looks a lot faster than most of the Dark Souls games. It feels more comparable to like Bloodborne, and I feel like they're taking a lot of what they learned in Sekiro and applying it to this game. So like, it's looking really good. And like,
I've tried to get into the Souls games. I found them a little clunky. I did play a bit of Sekiro, and it's fun. I don't remember why I fell off. I just think I ended up playing other stuff. I did play The Surge a lot, which is like a sci-fi Souls-like. And I think Elden Ring, well, I didn't care about it until I saw the trailer, because I'm like, it's one of those things I want to see what it's all about. And if it's just a little faster and a little smoother, if it's got that Sekiro flow, I might dip my toes into it, because Sekiro feels good to play.
Right, yeah. And some more stuff from the Nintendo Direct. We had a new WarioWare announced, which is like, nice. Yeah. Like nice. That game hasn't had a new game in a while.
I was going to say, it's been a hot minute.
Since the Wii.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, hey, Nintendo, you're giving us games other than Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon some love again. That's nice. I mean, you know, you got
granted,
Metroid.
I think we could consider WarioWare somewhat of a Mario spin-off.
Fair.
Fair. But you know what else? They're announcing a remake for Advance Wars 1 and 2 called Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. And it's like, yes, I fucking love that game back in the Game Boy Advance days.
I have heard so many good things about Advance Wars, and I totally missed the boat on it. What is the deal with this game?
Okay, so it's a tactics game, a la like something like Fire Emblem, but you're like commanding like armies and tanks and stuff, and you take the role of like these generals called COs, and like it's basically like cartoony ass chess where you're like trying to out strategize the other opponent, and each of the generals have like their own specific advantages and weaknesses and like special powers that really change up how the game plays. And like also there's just a glut of amazing features like build your own map maker, so you can like create your own custom maps to like play on. It's got multiplayer, so like you can play with another person, so like you can like compete against someone else, and that's great. And like all the different kind of units you have, like infantry, mech units that are like infantry but with rocket launchers, tanks, fighter jets, bombers. There's a lot of depth to the game, and it is simple to understand and learn, and like chess, it's simple to understand and learn, but like once you get into it, there's a lot of meat to the game, and it's great.
Nice.
Let's see, what else? Final Fantasy IX is getting an animated TV series. In an article by Game... in an article by Game Informer, they're apparently working on an animated series for Final Fantasy IX, and it's like, oh, okay, because here's the thing, Final Fantasy IX is like the best Final Fantasy game. Like, it's got an amazing story with great characters.
Well, then why does everyone say 7's the best?
I was gonna say
because they have no culture, Colin.
Which is 9 again? What do they do?
9.
You don't have to go to the whole thing, but
okay. So
throw some buzzwords
to answer,
at me.
Colin's question in more serious earnestness. So 7 is like the game that like most people have played, right? Like everyone's played 7. But like, you know, there are people who don't really care for 7 because they feel like it was such a departure from the previous Final Fantasy games, or it's like, oh, I like the later games better. But like everyone kind of like can come together to say, okay, Final Fantasy IX was good. Like it.
Okay.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy IX is like a sort of it was like it was the last Final Fantasy game to come out for the original PlayStation. And they made it as a sort of tribute to all previous Final Fantasy games.
Gotcha.
So it like has the medieval setting of the first 6 games, and has like all these references to the early Final Fantasy games, but also they mean it as like a sort of swan song, because like Final Fantasy would like go through radical changes and hasn't really been the same since. So like, and really, it's just got an incredible story, because like there's this character named Vivi who's like basically like this automaton golem kind of thing, made for war, but like gains sentience. It's not too far off from like a Warforged in that regards. And like all the stuff about him, about his own existentialism, about what it means to be alive and stuff. It's all so good. And like,
oh, this is one that has Orko in it.
Yeah, it's just a story done well, and it's like, I hope they do it justice. I hope they don't fuck this up, because this one would if they fuck this up, I would be devastated, actually.
That's a big sad.
Yeah, I feel like it could go one of two ways. Like, I don't think it'll just be like, it'll probably be very good or very bad, knowing how like video game content, media usually turns out.
Yeah. All right. Next thing. There was a trailer released for a Scooby-Doo movie called Scooby-Doo Meets Courage the Cowardly Dog.
So
and it's like,
there was a contentious exchange between you two that I don't understand here.
Okay, listen. I watched the trailer and I'm now on the other side of it, because when I just saw the headline of like, oh, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog, I was thinking that it was gonna be like, a continuation of like, how Scoob had all these like bizarre connections to Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and I'm just like, we don't need to have CGI Scooby-Doo movies that cross over with everything.
You don't need
so I was like, shut the hell up. And then I watched it, I was like, okay, it's still the original animation and stuff like that. I was like, okay, fine. This is gonna be more like Batman versus the Ninja Turtles for me than Scoob.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like, yeah, no, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I love that show. It's such a good show.
Oh my god.
It's got like all that lovely horror stuff, and like Courage is great, great character, great dog, and it's like, yeah, no, this is like a great crossover to have. Like, I've never thought about having it, but now that it's here, it's like, yeah, no,
it's two
makes
scaredy
sense.
Two scaredy dogs with
dogs.
with some mystical shit going on.
Yeah, no, it's just a good idea, and
two dogs, too scary.
Two dogs, too scary. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Let's see. Is there anything else on the lighter stuff before I start talking about
Batman?
Oh, yes. One more thing. Let's talk about apparently Batman, and so in an interview with the creators of the Harley Quinn animated series.
This is by far the dumbest fucking story that we have the whole month.
We already said it earlier, so...
Yeah. There came a part where, like, the creators saying, like, oh, they let us get away with a lot of stuff, but then, like, they'll, like, stop us on certain things. For example, there was a part where we had Batman perform oral sex on Catwoman, and DC stepped in and was like, no, whoa, you can't do that. Batman doesn't do that. And we're like, why not? This is an adult.
Oh, wait a minute. I've got the perfect fucking...
Heroes don't do that. And it's like, heroes don't do that. Heroes don't pleasure their lovers. It's just like...
Oh, man. Just the instant reaction across all spheres of the internet was pretty wonderful to behold.
Yeah.
And it's such a weird hypocrisy, because, like, not too long ago, we got, like, an adaptation of Killing Joke where Batman bonks fucking Batgirl, someone who is young enough to be his daughter.
Yep.
And it's
on a rooftop.
Like,
heroes do that.
Heroes totally have sex with, like, someone way younger than them, but
they don't.
But
hold on, I just posted the perfect video reaction to this. To the meme for this.
But like pleasuring your lover, who, like, your longtime lover, nah, fuck that, nah. And it's like, what are your priorities, DC?
Yeah, I got a nice long laugh out of that. I follow this one stupid Twitter account called Riker Googling, which is the happy horny character from Star Trek if he were using Google, and he just Googled, why don't heroes do that? And, like, that's just kind of the tone that you got across the board. It's just people what the fuck are you talking about?
The exact quote is, and DC was like, you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that. They're like, heroes don't do that. So we said, are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers? They were like, no, it's that we sell
merchandise,
consumer toys for heroes. It's a hard sell. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is going down on someone. And
no, it's not.
Is it?
Because it's
adult.
Are you sure?
Is it really?
It's like it's adult media. So like, why would
it's adult media? Like you didn't have a problem with Batman.
This is
doing like other questionable shit. So why is this a problem?
I'm trying to imagine the situation where a 6-year-old boy sees a Batman toy in Walmart, and they're very conservative pearl-clutching parents. I could not say that for the life of me. Says, no, that person licks a vagina. And then the boy says, I don't know what any of that means. Buy the toy.
Okay, but also just like, I mean, you know, like you could shift the toy argument over, because honestly, like nowadays, since kids are more into video games, like when you're selling like action figures of like, you know, superhero characters and shit like that, a huge market for that is honestly adult collectors. But still, who on earth would that, like, you know?
Honestly, I feel like adult collectors would love Batman with going down on his girlfriend action. You know?
Oh my god.
Yeah, make it an action figure. Make it a pillowcase. A lot of options here.
Batman Dakimura. Yeah.
I just absolutely loved all of the DJ Khaled memes that were being shared over it.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh my god.
All right.
Anyway, I just posted a perfect Vine for this story that you guys can watch on your own time. That makes me laugh, but I will watch it and likely link it in the show notes. All right,
let's get to more depressing news. Firstly, we have
I don't know, that's pretty depressing to be honest.
A tweet from Katie West saying, regarding so many of us.com and author Warren Ellis, our official statement. And for those of you who don't know, Warren Ellis has been accused of just being a fucking sex pest and and molestation and sexual harassment and the whole shebang. And it's like, fuck that dude. And they released a statement and I'm going to read the statement out. Update June 23rd, 2021. When we published so many of us.com on July 13, 2020, we expressly did not want to, quote unquote, cancel author Warren Ellis. Rather, we shared constructive ways to address the all too common issue of powerful men's abusive behavior. We challenged people to rethink past actions and to consider how and why they may have facilitated harmful behaviors and environment. We called for openness, accountability, and growth, extending an offer of working with Ellis on some form of transformative justice. Since his public statement a year ago, to the knowledge of these authors, Ellis has still not taken direct responsibility for his destructive behavior, nor attempted to tackle the circumstances that allow such behavior to go on unchecked, both on and offline. During the past year, we were comforted by an outpouring of encouragement, while also heartbroken to be contacted by more targets of Ellis and of other men using similar patterns to abuse power. Today, as Ellis returns to comic without making amends to anyone involved in so many of us.com or accepting ramifications of his actions, the renewal of ardent public support alongside calls for accountability is reassuring. We reaffirm our call for Warren Ellis to earn the opportunity to become the man so many people believed him to be, which is all just a long way of saying,
we're not going to do anything about it.
He's getting more jobs in comics again. Why did we not address this? Why is there never consequences for shitty men being shitty?
Yep.
And, yeah.
I mean, especially, I feel like, not that it doesn't happen in other areas, because it certainly does, but I feel like especially people who write comic books is like probably a big demographic of like people who can be shitty and just have it be completely ignored, because a lot of their fan base is probably also kind of shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is a hell of a generalization.
It's just frustrating just seeing, because we see it again and again, just like we learn someone's a piece of shit, and like they just walk away for a couple months, come back, and all their friends are like, "Hey, welcome back. Here, have a fucking job." And it's just like,
exactly.
There's so many more.
I mean, to more of my like what I was saying is just like, you know, like obviously not everyone who reads comic books like is you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like fine with that kind of behavior, but there probably is a bigger vocal demographic of people who read comic books than a lot of other media forms necessarily that would just be like, you know, saying that the whole thing was blown out of proportion or blah, blah, blah. Or, I don't know. I would think so, but...
Beaten out only by the gamers. In fact,
let's
talk about that. So,
yes.
A while ago, we had an entire scandal broke out in the Smash Bros. Community. Many... like pro players turned out to be fucking pedophiles. Amongst them was Zero, who admitted to being a pedophile. And
good start.
In our bit of news, we have a screenshot of a discussion Zero was having with Technicals, a commentator / journalist / former Smash Bros. Pro player. And, like, it's clear that Technicals and Zero are trying to take control of the narrative and also out Zero's victims so that
That's
she
terrible.
can be harassed, or they can be harassed and stuff. And it's like, to read what's on the screenshot, because you clearly know, Zero, because you clearly know what to do. Technicals, trust the plan, lol. This is my field. Zero. Also, this may be huge, but the next challenge
been around
is Katie.
the rodeo a few times.
And the biggest question is still, who is she, and is she really who she says she is? I was thinking, if Jackie gets canceled, or is close to, which is very possible now, we may be able to pressure her hand to get Katie's details. I have a great feeling there's manipulation in that story.
Oh my
And Katie
God.
herself. And since Katie is a ghost in the wind, that would Technicals, that would be
Oh my
groundbreaking.
God.
Yeah,
Zero.
it's
We
really
may be
gross.
able to uncover her. Yes. ... So I'm saying this could be a play. Jackie is a snake. She will throw Katie under the bus for self-preservation if she has to. So we could use that.
That's
Technicals.
That's gross.
Yeah, she needs to stay gutted in the process. Though I want to lead. I want
to
a lead.
Katie.
I want to lead to Katie. Yeah.
Fucking fuck.
It's like one thing to know that people in the community are like, you know, manipulative and doing shitty things and then also trying to manipulate the narrative. But it's just like, it's such a
so
different thing to see
skin-crawly
it
to read it
written out
happen.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like
And
written
you know what
out,
the
just like,
frustrating
not
thing-
even
you know
just
what the
like,
frustrating thing is?
it's not even just like behavior that like, yes, you can say like, you know, people who are outside of the situation would be like, that's very manipulative. But it's different when it's like the manipulative person who is literally talking to someone else and they're like actively admitting and talking about like the best ways to be manipulative. You know, it's like a, you know, like not that it makes, like not that it
doesn't.
the situation would have been bad either way, but it's just so gross to see it
It's
out
the
like
grossest
that, you know?
form of seeing how the sausage is made. Because
Right.
at least with
Yeah,
that metaphor,
exactly,
you
exactly.
usually want to eat the sausage. And in this case, you really don't.
No, it's not a very good sausage at all. But, you know, this story gets worse because, like, you know, Technicals eventually released this video. I haven't watched it. I don't want to give it any kind of credit. But, like, the frustrating thing is I've seen a few people commenting going, oh, Technicals brought out the truth or some bullshit. And it's
Lord.
like, oh, fuck.
Well, so this chat exchange is this Discord screenshot that had that exchange in it that you just read. Do we know if that's verified? Like, do we know how that was captured?
I'm not familiar with the details, but as far as I can tell, well, actually, no. As far as I can tell, it's legit. These are real and just as far as I can tell, it's legit. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
It looks
I'm
like
sure
the
we'd
screenshot
hear.
was taken from screenshot was taken. It looks like from Zero's account. I'm just gonna try to look up some details on this, see where it came from. Because now I want to
please.
fucking know.
Yeah, because I'm
anyway,
also like Chowder. If you want to hear like what the things like, I'm sure other people will make videos about like the shit, summarizing the shit that Technicals made in his video. so you can get the information at some point without actually having to, give that shit a view or whatever.
Yeah, true. I just,
Yeah, it's just such a...
It's just like, fuck. Why do we have to be constantly vigilant? Why does it take so much work to get rid of these fucks?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, because it's sad, because, everyone wants to think it's like a movie where, the creepy people are all, evil and creepy, and apparently so, where it's not really the case, whereas, turns out a lot of very charismatic people that are good at making content can also be creeps, and people need to accept that those things are not mutually exclusive, and hold people accountable even if they enjoy their fucking content, Yeah. It's just it's even though they may seem one way, but yeah, anyway.
With that, though, I am going to say let's actually kick it over to Jeff as we
I'm
run sort
done.
of low on time here. Maybe like my air conditioner, you can perk me up from the depths of that tweet hell. What you got?
All right, first thing I want to talk about is we got a new trailer. We got a... I don't know why that sentence was so difficult for me. We got a new trailer for the recently announced Netflix Masters of the Universe Revelations show that is going to be directed by Kevin Smith. And I think it looks pretty good as just a new updated He-Man show. Notable things from the trailer: Mark Hamill is going to be voicing Skeletor, which is it seems like a completely natural choice, to be honest. I think that looks really... Yeah, it looks really good, I mean, we've talked about this before, but part of me is a little bit sad that we're not seeing a He-Man show that is set in the same universe as the more recent Netflix updated She-Ra show, because this is very much back to the roots of the original Masters of the Universe, and very much playing off of that. And in interviews, Kevin Smith has talked about the whole idea with Revelation as being usually it's just Man-at-Arms and his cat and Orko or whatever are the only people that know that Prince Adam is He-Man, but the revelation here is that Teela, who's the prominent female role in the show, discovers that Prince Adam is He-Man, and a lot of the tension is based off of that. I don't know how significant a part of the show that's going to be. That's just kind of what Kevin Smith has described as the setting and why they chose the name Revelation. So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind when going into the show, but probably just sounded like a bunch of gibberish if you're not really familiar with the plot of Masters of the Universe. But yeah, no, I think it looks really good. The animation looks really good. It seems like it's going to be a good sort of reboot of, because before they were talking about, Kevin Smith had described it as kind of picking up where the old show let off, and I wasn't sure if he meant just as a spiritual successor picking up where it left off, or literally in the same canon as the old show. And it seems so tonally different that I can't imagine it's that.
There's gonna be a lot of ridiculous shit He-Man's done that.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to, it would be fun if they continued this show and then ended every episode with here's what we learned today, kids, like the original show was, but
and
I kind of doubt
him,
that's gonna happen.
throwing moons at people,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what I hope is that, it has some connection to that Shiro show, because,
I don't think it is. Just because tonally it seems so different, and it seems the She-Ra show took a lot of liberties in the way they reimagined the characters, that this very much seems like a very much a updated reboot of the show that is not, it's not reinventing the wheel in any way. It's just making with new technology and new writing, is making a new version of the show. It does not seem like it would connect to that. But yeah, that looked really good. We got, surprisingly, I mean, I'm sure this must have been some sort of fucking plan, but we got goddamn 2 pieces of Beast Wars news this month, which is bonkers to me, and I'm so excited for it.
Really surprised me.
I mean, it seems like a wild coincidence, but there is no way that it actually is a coincidence. This is clearly, we're getting to the 30th anniversary of, or the 25th anniversary of Beast Wars. So they're definitely, it's a whole strategy, because the like Hasbro talks about this a lot with like the primary buying demographic of Transformers figures is pretty much people in like the 25 to 35 range. So it's pretty much getting to that point where like, oh, all the people who watched Beast Wars as a kid, you know, are now like they have their buying power basically because they have their own money to spend and stuff like that. So it's no coincidence. I mean, they've just, you know, they've been doing a new Beast Wars in the toy line for like a year now. But the two pieces of news are, one, we got the announcement of the next live action movie, which is going to be a sequel to the Bumblebee movie, but we got our title being Rise of the Beasts, and it is going to feature characters from Beast Wars who are going to show. I'm not sure like the total plot. We've known the director for a while before we even knew the title. It is Stephen Caple Jr., who I think the only significant thing that he's directed before is the second Creed movie, which was pretty well received. And in interviews and stuff, pretty good. And there was some hopeful stuff from that, because like I'm always gonna be kind of skeptical of these movies because it's like, oh, it's set in the 90s and there's obviously going to be human characters and stuff like that. And like the biggest problem I've had with the live action Transformers movies, I mean, aside from all of the, like, you know, including Bumblebee, not just all of the nonsense that Michael Bay does, but is that like there's much more of an emphasis on the human characters, and it kind of means that a lot of the actual Transformers take a back seat in terms of like having fleshed out character arcs and stuff like that. Yes, very
back
funny.
Seat because they're cars. I get it.
So I don't know, like, because like one of the best things about Beast Wars is that it was set on prehistoric Earth, and therefore the only characters were the actual Transformers. Like there weren't any people. This
was the question I wanted to ask, but felt too stupid to ask it. Like, how is this in the 90s?
So I mean, unclear. We don't know. I mean, it's not going to be just the Beast Wars cast. Like, it's a sequel to the Bumblebee movie. Bumblebee is going to be in it. Optimus Prime is going to be in it. Like, as the, you know, like they're both Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal are going to be in the movie. Now, Beast Wars, like, I don't know if they're sticking to this, but the setting of Beast Wars is that it takes place both in the past and the future, where they're the descendants. The Maximals and the Predacons are the descendants of the Autobots and the Decepticons, and then they end up time traveling to prehistoric Earth. I could go into that more, but we don't need to. You're good. So I'm not sure. So they might have that again as them being descendants and then time traveling instead of prehistoric Earth, time traveling to the 90s, right? We don't know. The things we know about the movie is that Optimus and Megatron are going to be in it, and that several of the Beast Wars characters are going to be in it. We do know, we got recently the news that the voice of Optimus Primal is going to be Ron Perlman.
Good voice.
He is a good voice. I feel a little bit mixed about it, because on the one hand, I really wish that they got Gary Chalk to do it, who is the original voice of Optimus Primal, because he's just very good. And they did actually have Ron Perlman voice Optimus Primal once before, but it was in this like infamously bad Machinima like trilogy series, like worse than the current.
I do remember that when the Transformers like War for Cybertron game came out, and then they made a bunch of shit using that.
No, so
never. There's more than what I'm thinking of.
They never made a Machinima series off of War for Cybertron. They did. It was based off of Devastation, which was a lot more like Generation 1 oriented. But yeah, no, it was very bad. They got like a bunch of YouTubers do the voice acting, and then the third season they like got more famous people to do the voice acting, but it was still bad and the writing was still bad, and it's like it's worse than the maybe what you're confusing it with, the current Netflix War for Cybertron thing that's going on now, which I maintain is bad, but it is very good compared to the Machinima trilogy. Like, it's that trilogy is so fucking bad. But they had Ron Perlman play Optimus Primal in that, and it was very bad. But that doesn't speak to Ron Perlman, because, you know, he's voiced lots of other great characters, and he's a good actor. It was just that show was so poorly written and directed, and, you know, no one working on it took it any seriously. So it's like, you know,
I would I'm curious, because I imagine like, I typically think of Optimus Prime in all his forms as having this very, like, what am I thinking? Addictive, pronounced.
Stoic.
Yeah, and but there's a lot of force behind his words, and Ron Perlman typically plays characters that are like really laid back with the way that they speak.
Yeah,
like they're
so
either
Optimus,
mumbly or he kind of like talks out of the back of his throat in like a grungy sort of way.
So, pardon the pun, but Optimus Primal is a bit of a different animal than Optimus Prime.
I will not pardon the pun. Holy fuck.
He's a different character. Like he definitely has a lot of those like leaderly qualities, but like in the Beast Wars cartoon, he's definitely more of like a laid back, like, more, like everything Optimus Prime says is like these big sprawling statements of, he's very like stoic. He's very, it's just like
he likes to speechify.
Right. Everything is speechified. Optimus Primal is not really like that. Like he, at least in the original show, he's a responsible leader or whatever, but he's like, he laughs, he'll make jokes. And but he's a lot more like, I guess, inexperienced as compared to Optimus Prime. So I don't know. Like I think Ron Perlman could voice him well. Like I do see it as a good fit. The one thing that gives me hesitancy is that he did voice him before and it was not good. But different thing, different voice acting standards. Between a big budget movie and a machinima series.
I think it's pretty rare that you can blame the failure of an animated thing on a single voice actor.
No,
so,
for
like,
sure.
I understand, but yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying the thing was bad. I'm saying specifically his performance as Optimus Primal was bad. But again, not his fault because the show was not written it did the same kind of thing as the War for Cybertron trilogy on Netflix does, where like everybody speaks like this, and it's like, just spit out your fucking sentence. Holy shit, write a longer script. Jesus. Don't spread out all your words. But so we know that about it. We know that it's going to include both Autobots and Decepticons and Maximals and Predacons and the Terrorcons, which are not the Terrorcons is going to be a different faction, which, the name Terrorcons has been used several times before in the Transformers franchise. I don't think this is going to be, like, specifically referencing any of those. I think they're just reusing the name again to be some, like, separate force. Yeah, I don't know. And that the villain is going to be named...
And they'll call it the Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah, the villain is going to be named Scourge, and he's apparently a bounty hunter that rips off the faction symbols of the people he's killed and wears them on his body or something. Which again, Scourge is a pre-existing character who is not that. So, different stuff like that. So that has me have some hesitancy where they're still doing the kind of movie character thing where they're just like, Transformers has so many characters to pull from and they're still just making shit up for new ones. It bothers me a little bit, but I'm gonna, that doesn't mean it's not gonna be good. So,
yep.
We'll see.
Fair enough.
I liked Bumblebee. I didn't think it was a perfect Transformers movie, but, I think if we're going in the sequel direction of Bumblebee rather than contributing to the Bayverse, then that's better. And our other piece of Beast Wars news is that the third chapter, to go back to work for Cybertron, the third chapter of the Netflix War for Cybertron trilogy, which, just because Colin said it, I should clarify, is completely unrelated to the War for Cybertron game. It's just another one of those. It's another one of those ones that they just reuse a lot. Like War for Cybertron, Robots in Disguise, like has been a subtitle like 4 or 5 times in the history of the franchise. But the third chapter in the Netflix War for Cybertron series Netflix dropped like a big like mass trailer of like a bunch of the new stuff that they were putting out, and there was a teaser trailer in there of the third season, which is Kingdom, which we knew for a while, which is again focusing on the Maximals and Predacons showing up, and that one does seem like it's going to be like them from the future coming back to interact with the Generation 1 Autobots and Decepticons. It looks bad. So I should clarify.
Fair
it
enough.
Looks okay. It sounds terrible. Like, the voice acting is bad, and I know that the writing in the show is going to be bad because it was in the first 2 seasons, but the animation looks fine.
Yeah, Fair enough.
But yeah,
All
so
right.
both of our Beast Wars news. Wait, I did have some other stuff. Let me just
I
make
was
sure.
about to ask if you got any last minute things you want to squeak on in there.
Two. Okay, did that. Oh, we had a couple things in here that I just want to mention as headlines that one or more of us posted at some point. They're making a fucking Monsters at Work television show that they released a television show.
That was announced a long time ago, but it's finally almost.
But we
here.
got a
Monsters...
trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not watch the trailer. It's a Monsters Inc. TV show.
Which
for Disney Plus.
I don't have a lot to say about that other than I'm just a little bit upset that that's happening, just because we don't need it. Oh, here was another one. This one I actually do think is important, but I don't know a lot about it. Then Marvel Comics introduces a new Captain America shield bearer who is something relevant. I can't remember what this was. There was a she's a Filipino American shield bearer named Ari. Oh god, Agbayani. I can't pronounce the name, but anyway, that's something that probably a lot of fanboys are going to be pissed off about. But I think it's great, cool idea.
Yeah, her design looks pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, but yeah, those were mostly the things that I had going on. And pretty much just the big stuff was the Beast Wars stuff and the Masters of the Universe for me. But yeah, good month.
Cool.
All right. So,
hey, Colin, real quick question: did you find anything more about like the Smash Bros bullshit? Because like anything I try to type up, I either get like stuff about like Smash mechanics, because technicals is another way of saying mechanics, and or the controversy from a year ago. Yeah,
I went straight to the tweet that June Bear posted, who seems like a pretty reliable commentator in the Smash space, given his status as a former Smash player in those circles. I looked at the comments and the quote tweets to see if there was anybody discussing the source. Nobody did. However, nobody seemed to question it. So at this point, nobody seems to be questioning the veracity of it, but there is a lot of that sort of like, oh man, you can't just post this out of context. It makes them look like pieces of shit. That's kind of the extent of it. I wonder why that would
be.
I'm looking at like this reporter named Jacob Wolf who did like interview that like exposed
Junebug is the AR Junebug at AR Junebug. Sorry.
Yeah, AR Jacob Wolf. He did a interview for another Smash Bros. Sex Fest, Sky Williams, and I'm looking at the comments to him, and it's like,
oh, you said
there's
sex
no
fest.
proof of
I heard sex fest.
Yeah.
And Smash Bros. Sex Fest would be a very different thing.
Yes. Very.
And like he's commenting on like the stuff about like technicals, and people are replying, "There's no proof of manipulative intent in this screenshot." Motherfucker, did you read the screenshot?
Yeah, that seems to be it. So, like, there's nothing saying, like, this is absolutely a screenshot of Zero and Technical's conversation, but nobody seems to be questioning it, which is a little strange. So, I mean, I don't know. Given the fact that there are documented things about these folks, I'm inclined to accept it as either real or representative of the truth. However, I don't know anything beyond what is attached to Junebug's tweet.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Like any attempt to like search up this stuff gets you different results, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. No, that is a big different problem. That said, let's actually kick it into the rating section here. We're going to take a minute to try to identify what we think are the hottest headlines from this past month. And we were kind of all over the place, dips, peaks, and valleys in both tone and quality of things discussed. So I just want to sort of get an idea of if we three had to pick the top story for the month of June, of all the geek news that we have discussed or alluded to, what do we think is the most exciting or interesting headline that people should pay attention to? And I don't want to do like Nintendo Direct, because that covers a lot of news items.
I hate to say it, but I feel like one of the big, like, though it's memey as shit, I feel like one of the biggest things, like, a lot of impact and, like, outrage about it was kind of the Batman thing, to be honest. Like, that seemed to, like, be a thing that reached a lot of... Yeah, reached a lot of ears.
The Batman thing's pretty big.
And I hope that outrage
yeah.
continues in ways that aren't just like memeing about it and are actually like, making people
Batman
change
eat
the way they
pussy.
It's funnier too because she's Catwoman, right? Like
yes, that makes it funnier 100%. I can't fight that. The thing I am most excited about, like even just
Metroid.
thinking about it, like fills me with a physical hype is Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
Just like
That's
it's been 10
exciting,
years
too.
since we got a proper new Metroid game. It's been 20
Yeah.
since we got one like this. It's nice and Mercury Steam is the developer, by the way. Mercury Stream, not Mystery Stream, which is what I said before. But they're developing the game. That is the thing. I can easily be persuaded to go with Batman eating Catwoman. However, this is what I am the most excited about is Metroid Dread. 100%.
Yeah, the things I'm most excited about are that Final Fantasy IX series, Metroid Dread, Breath of the Wild 2, but honestly, Batman not being allowed to eat pussy is definitely the winner. Either that or the two involving sex scandals, and you know what? Fuck it.
Probably shouldn't, But also, like,
go ahead.
Just wondering, does the story of the month have to be Scooby-Doo v. Courage to make the title the Two Dogs, Two Courage Genius, or whatever the fuck you said before?
No, the title can be what the title can be whatever. I'll lock that in, but we can make the Batman eating not eating pussy because the producers said so.
What do we write?
Question
though, what do we write in the brackets for the episode title for that?
For the brackets, we'll just say that this is the briefing program for the month, but I will list this as "Heroes Don't Do That" in quotes in the show notes, so that we don't get delisted anywhere.
Fair enough.
It's just like, man, yeah. We know that producers are very often doing things with the media they produce that you can tell, like, they either don't understand or they don't care. Or they're just kind of like running the numbers, and it's like, this is hilarious because of how obtuse these producers are, but also really sad because it's like, oh, this is how certain problems with this institution are perpetuated, because the people that hold these beliefs and can't be bothered to interrogate them are like in charge of whether or not they are expressed.
Yep.
And it's just, this is another instance of watching a bad sausage get made, or a sexy sausage in this case. I don't know.
So bizarre to me because like they can do whatever
Yes.
with the villains, right? Like,
Yep. It's kind of like the whole rumor that like Apple doesn't let their phones be used by villains in movies where their phones are featured.
Yep.
It's just like, except that like their Apple is at least trying to prevent an association with evil, and here the producers are trying to associate this with good
being a
partnership.
shitty boyfriend.
Yeah, like what are they?
Oh God!
What
What if we associated Batman with healthy relationships?
Because let's fucking be clear. I would still think it was ridiculous if the whole thing was Batman don't fuck, but it's even more ridiculous that it's like Batman
much
don't
more
do
extreme
this
than
specifically, because we all know Batman
celibat.
fucks. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Well, that's our top story for the month. Go dive into the memes around Heroes Don't Do That. It is just a delightful time with a tinge of sadness behind it, as many of the things that we pick often end up being. But that about wraps it up. That was kind of a meandering discussion. That June was a weird month. I expected it to be a lot bigger, and we did skip some stuff. We didn't talk about Loki, really.
We talk about Kazuya.
We can talk about Loki when it's over.
Yeah, the new Suicide Squad trailer. There's a new Lord of the Rings anime called War of the Rohirrim. Like, there's a lot of interesting stuff.
Frenemies broke up. If that counts as geek news, the podcast.
I don't even know who that is.
We don't need to go into it. I would have brought it up if I felt like it was important enough. But it is a very popular podcast.
The most cringe thing I can recommend is the trailer for a movie called Karen, which is it's just rough in every conceivable way. But really, I think we hit on all the things that I am either excited about or interested in. So I'm just gonna call it here. I have been Colin. If you enjoy this
Calling
show,
it.
God help you. But you can tune in again every couple of weeks for new episodes, and you can find me doing other stuff on commongeekingprogram.com. What about you guys? Anything you want to say before we close it?
Hello, I'm Timul Chowdhury, or Chowder, whichever you prefer. You can find me on Twitter at Timul Chowder.
And I've been Jeff Leavitt. I do a YouTube toy review channel called Alchemist Prime Reviews. So if that's in your wheelhouse, check that out. And if not, no worries. I have an Instagram.
So just to confirm, is that any different from Alchemist Primal Reviews, or are they the same character, the same channel?
Fuck you. That's funny because there's a character named Rodimus Prime and there's a YouTuber named Rodimus Primal.
I didn't mean to open more worms. I already have so many worms.
Gross.
No, there is no Alchemist Primal.
For that.
That's why I'm trying to end this. I need to go to the doctor for my worms.
But yeah, no, that's where you can find me. I've got an Instagram where I put art stuff open. Maybe it will again one day, but it's literally been over a year, so, whatever.
Yeah. It's been a minute. We'll get there. All right. Well, we will be back in 2 weeks with another regular-ass Geeking Program episode where we dive into one particular topic. You can also find 2 other shows that I produce here called Dice Populi and How You Doing. Forgot my own shows for a second, so I need to eat food badly. So we hope you enjoyed this. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Have a good day.
Ciao.
The Common Briefing program is hosted by me, Colin Ketchen, and I have been joined by Timul Chowdhury and Jeff Leavitt. This episode is brought to you by Air Conditioning, the secret 4th member of this entire conversation. The podcast is created and produced by myself and Jeff Leavitt, with this episode edited by me, featuring original music also by me. I'm sure there are other things that I did, but the credits aren't long enough to encompass all that narcissistic nonsense. So we will be back in 2 weeks with a regular book club episode. In the meantime, if you're looking for more to listen to, why don't you check out Dice Populi? We just wrapped up a big story. And How You Doing? It's always a good time at commongeekingprogram.com. In the meantime, thank you for listening to this. Have a good day.
Yeah, do that. And do it, not as awkwardly and flustered as Colin telling you to do.
Yeah, my brain has not really been there for this recording, and I feel so bad, but I think it's just because all I've eaten today is a couple Cheez-Its. So...
It did what it did. It did what it did.
Yeah, I'm gonna go make some linguine. Whee!